Hey everybody. In our last episode of the quarter, we wanted to mix things up and take a sneak peek ahead at something coming your way while we're out on hiatus. It's the next concept ship from industrial powerhouse Misc and the first dedicated refinery craft of its kind. Let's take a look.
We've got quite a few ships already in the Misc manufacturer lineup.
You have the Prospector, you have the Starfarer,
Whole series.
but we wanted to have dedicated entry-level ship into the refining gameplay career for ship owners. The Misc Expanse fills a great hole in the gameplay loop of the entire mining refining cycle, because currently you go out to the far reaches of space, you mine some rocks, you fill up your capacity, then you yourself have to trek all the way back to the grain station or somewhere like that to refine, and then you have to trek all the way back to go continue mining, whereas Expanse can be the middleman where you take on board mined goods, you process it, and then you can either sell it yourself or you can transfer it back to a cargo ship and they complete the whole gameplay loop. The Expanse is the starter ship in the sort of refinery tier. We have refineries on other ships such as the Starfarer, but they are more specialised into purely doing fuel, where the Expanse has a bonus over them. Is it has what we call reactors on them, and at a very simplistic level, one reactor is one refinery process, and the Expanse has 6 of them on board, so it allows you to potentially do 6 entirely different refinery processes simultaneously, or for maximum output you can do 6 of all the same type and really sort of improve your bandwidth, so to speak, of refinery. We picked Misc because it sort of fits that industrial aesthetic.
You've got the rounded front nose of the ship, but then what you'll notice, you've got the not massive, but you've got the big shoulders, and that's also on the Starfarer, and so we wanted to keep that, so it's sort of basically big airflow, big intakes, straight to an engine, and then back out. When people look at the back, there are certain visual elements there that you'll see that are common throughout the ship manufacturers. You know, it's sort of the ball engine almost, very sort of defined fins that surround that spherical engine. And also the other sort of main feature is the 8 pods that are 4 on either side. It really gives this ship a unique look and silhouette. And there's no mistaking this ship. People might be familiar already with sort of Misc Interiors are generally sort of a letterbox kind of viewpoint. You know, it's very widescreen. You've got that basically when you're sat in the pilot seat. You've got all your instrumentation laid out in front of you. It's all quite sleek, holographic. It's still sort of quite compact because it is a one-man ship. Leading from the cockpit, it will take you into just a small living section. So bed, locker, that kind of stuff. And then progressing to the rear of the ship is just a really small sort of like operations room, basically, where you can interface with the refinery section. And there's a little window there, and you can sort of see through into the gubbins, and you'll have a little bit of a display that you'll be able to do some of your interaction with. It's split level, so to get out of the ship, basically you'll enter into a really sort of compact and bijou lift, or an elevator, as some people say. That'll take you down to the lower floor. Jared, you might want to call it the ground floor. And then outside down a ramp, basically. So quite small. I mean, I think the ship is going to be kind of cool. I mean, obviously it's a niche role and it's not going to appeal to every player, but I think as a ship and as an owner, I think people are really going to like it. I think they're probably going to sort of really start to gel with it. It's got a lot of, it's got a lot of personality, I would say. And, I hope that, people, A, will enjoy what it does, but B, will also sort of enjoy the visuals of the ship and just flying around in it and just having that sort of one-man support experience.
The Misc Expanse is the first dedicated refinery ship for Star Citizen, an ideal place for beginners looking to start making their way in this career, intended partner of the Prospector mining vehicle, and you can learn more about it in the coming weeks on the robertspaceindustriescom website. But up next, Alpha 317 is right around the corner, so here's a look at many of the new features, updates, and bug fixes on their way with the patch report. Let's start things off with the big mammer jammer, the main event, the headliner, ship-to-ship player refueling. This new support profession makes its debut in the upcoming Alpha 317, with a new and exciting user interface allowing players to fuel up their Starfarer and Starfarer Geminis, head out into the verse, make an agreement for type of fuel and price, hook up using the docking interface you may already be familiar with, and then don't forget to manage the flow properly. This step is the crucial difference between a satisfied customer and an unfortunate repair bill. Now, ship-to-ship refueling arrives along with a rebalancing of fuel efficiencies and the removal of temporary fuel scoops from many spacecraft to change life in the verse from this point forward. But Disco, that's not the biggest feature in Alpha 317, you may be saying. Who are you, my boss? I'm talking about my boss. Maybe the biggest feature of Alpha 317 is the dynamite combination of loot generation updates and selling, where a wide array of new items, some formerly found in shops, some from the depths of Star Citizen's history, and some entirely brand new to the Precision universe, can now be discovered during your travels, and then, along with a huge selection of items and resources you're already familiar with, now successfully be sold to vendors, allowing you finally to find your fates and fortunes while foraging the fantastic, fabled frontiers of favor and finance. I'm gonna get fired. Or maybe the biggest news of Alpha 317 is the first integration of quantum running things under the hood, where the prices of several commodities, not all at first, will now be controlled by the massive simulation bunderkin we've been talking about for some time. It's exciting times ahead. Also in Alpha 317 are a host of new additions and updates for medical gameplay, including the arrival of Maria Pure of Heart in Lorville, new space station clinic variations on stations throughout the Stanton system, and balance adjustments and bug fixes to bleeding out, insta-death, injury occurrence, player status not persisting through logging, hunger and thirst decay rates, and getting a crime stat for ramming your corpse. Yes, you may now ram your corpse as often as you like, penalty-free. We've also got DNA head updates to your player faces that will look better than ever before with improved textures and, you guessed it, moist eyeballs. There's also the FPS weapon animation refactor, where the procedural animations that occur as you run, jump, idle, or just look badass while using the latest from Castec arms should now feel more natural and aesthetically pleasing. New turret acceleration models so they don't instantly jump to max speed and give the player whiplash anymore. IFCS quality of life changes, fixes to cluster missiles, ground vehicle signature emission changes, and more that you can learn all about when the patch notes come out. Mining gadgets, the latest improvement to mining gameplay that allows players to tackle those asteroids that were previously a bit too volatile, or change a variety of circumstances to better suit your loadout and intent when out in the cold wastes, just you and your big rocks. Cloudtech also takes another step forward on Hurston, as the planet is next in line to get a little bit of shade from the sun in the Stanton system. Alpha 317 also brings with it the long-awaited Hull A from Musashi Industrial and Starflight Concern, harbinger of the entire Hull series and littlest workhorse of the line. Now, I'm supposed to espouse all of its virtues here, but really, just look how adorable it is. I just want to give it a little hug and tell it what a good job it's doing. Note, if I didn't just talk about how adorable it is and wanting to hug it, someone made me re-record this. And when you're done flying your Hull A low above Microtech's first river and testbed for the new river tech that will roll out across planets and moons in subsequent patches, you can return to port with the biggest feature of Alpha 317 yet, bind to key ATC landing. Look at it. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that Misc continues to be at the industrial forefront with the Expanse refinery vehicle, and that the full concept reveal is just around the corner. That little things like ATC bind to key are the quality of life improvements that come through your feedback throughout all of development. And that with ship-to-ship refueling, vendor selling, and quantum under the hood, Alpha 317 is shaping up to be another big step forward in recognizing the full potential of life in the verse. Now that's it for ISC this quarter, but keep an eye out on the RobertSpaceIndustries.com website for info on the 317 release, the upcoming Misc Expanse, as well as a merch sale that's just around the corner, and then hang out with Jeremiah and I one more time right here in LA tomorrow on Twitch ahead of my eventual relocation to the UK. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you next month from there, here, wherever. Okay. Oh, that was loud. Hey, I like my colors. I like my colors. Whew, almost missed my chair. Have you ever found a critical JIRA assigned to an employee that hasn't worked there for years? Had you ever shown up for a stand-up that no one told you had been canceled? Have you ever had everything working perfectly on staging, but wouldn't even boot up in the presentation room? What kind of games did you invent as a kid? Have you ever shown up to a stand-up and you were the only one there? Have you ever gotten lost in a gaming convention? Have you ever clicked send halfway through I forgot what I was supposed to say here. Have you ever lit a scene only to discover you're 300% over the entity budget? Have you ever killed a man in the dead of winter just to watch the steam rise from his wounds? Have you ever been tempted to set all your JIRAs to resolved and just make a run for it? Nope, that's not good. I don't remember the last time I stood up for a stand-up. You tell this is going to be a good start. I got a trophy for spaceships. I gave it to myself. I'm going to have to get a haircut at some point. I'm just wasting camera time now, huh? You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? They gave me a special fashion hoodie. Sometimes I just stick my fingers under my arms. Oh, the weather outside is weather. Honestly, I'm just getting really bad at this. Have you ever found 4 copies of the same Confluence page and had no idea which was the updated one? Did you know the human head weighs just 14 pounds? Just mine. It's been a long road. I'd never done a crazy thing in my life before that night. Do you have a JIRA for that?